This video is sponsored by me. Read my original novel, Dance of Frozen Death. Link in the description. Greetings, fellow mortals. Recently, there has been a lot of discussion involving self-insert characters. It's mostly because the Velma cartoon continues to be discussed, and for good reason. It was a show that was so bad that absolutely everyone hated it. I don't know if it was already greenlit for a season 2 before it even aired, or if enough people hate watched it to justify the series getting a second season. It reminds me of Big Mouth. It's something that absolutely no one likes, and it just keeps going no matter how hard we pray that it will die.
I want you to kill Peter Parker.
But that obviously is not the focus of this video, of course. I mean, you read the title. Instead, I wanted to discuss the idea of a self-insert character. If you don't know, Velma was produced by Mindy Kaling, aka Kelly from The Office. In the show, the character of Velma was changed to look and act exactly like Mindy. In a lot of ways, Mindy inserted herself as the main character of the show. It reminds me of Starfire's daughter, Nightstar, who oddly enough looks nothing like her parents. Instead, she looks like one of her creators, Mariko Tamaki, which is weird and is obviously just a self-insert. But what exactly do I mean by self-insert? Well, think of it like this. Instead of the writer making a character with a different perspective and abilities from their own, the creator imprints themselves into fiction. Not to say that this can't possibly work, I just can't think of any good examples off the top of my head.
This is worthless. It's less than worthless, my boy.
And this isn't just me picking on female creators. This happens with men too, but in the opposite ways generally, especially in anime and movies. Instead of creating a character with a unique perspective, the writers construct one of two types of self-inserts. Either the character is so bland and average that anyone could literally imagine themselves in the place of the protagonist, or the male character is such an unstoppable badass that no one can touch them. In the generic protagonist genre, it usually relates to romance and harems, meaning the men, usually young men, watching the show can imagine themselves being the object of attention and affection from several different women. They're loved and wanted by everyone, despite not bringing anything unique to the table. This is one of my least favorite types of self-inserts. Not to say that I want it to go away for anyone that actually enjoys it, but it turns me off when I feel so pandered to. Many times I feel the exact same way about the action badass type of the trope. James Bond, Taken, Nobody, they're all good examples of this. They're unstoppable fighting machines that can take down everything and everyone in their path. While young men want to be loved by everyone, older men want to feel like a tough guy that's unappreciated and has skills that always save the day. It's a little bit boring to me, but it can be done well, like with John Wick, but maybe that's just because I like the absurd world building of the movies and love Keanu Reeves, like any normal person would.
You're breathtaking.
Now that the opposite side of the gender spectrum is mad at me, let me go back to the female self-inserts. Let's not sit here and pretend that romance and rom-coms haven't been pandering to women with self-inserts for years. Literally almost every romantic movie that I watch with my wife has the same characters and plot to them. A woman is unappreciated at work and is struggling with her love life. Usually she gets cheated on. Then, this guy that she either recently met or had problems with in the past starts to connect with her. He shows her a different side to him that she never knew. They grow fond of each other. Then a simple error in communication that could have been easily prevented or fixed fractures the duo's relationship. In the process, the woman works hard to gain respect at her job. The man comes running back saying that he needs her in his life and that he'll be a better man. Then he quits his job or something stupid like that while never having to worry about income. Maybe that's why I'm so fond of Love is Blind. At least it's a romantic situation that feels a little bit different. At least one that my wife actually wants to watch. She can't do Married at First Sight or 90 Day Fiancé or stuff like that, which I am thankful for. Anyway, all of this is to say that both men and women have this self-insert character where the personality is so generic that they can easily imagine themselves in that position. Cough, Twilight, cough. And to come back around one more time, just so that everyone is upset with me, plenty of men self-insert themselves into movies. The Rock always plays The Rock. Nothing about him is different in the films. Same thing with Ryan Reynolds or Kevin Hart. They're just playing themselves, and to be fair, they're making a lot of money doing it. But I wouldn't say that the storytelling is setting the world on fire. In fact, I know many people that would call it lazy, low effort, and easily digestible entertainment. In fact, that might be the best way to put it. Self-inserts are easy and digestible, whether from blandness, wish fulfillment, or just putting your own personality into the main character. Because it's easy for someone to write a blank slate or themselves. After all, whose experience do you know the best? Your own. It's obvious. You just place yourself into the character and it makes the entire process of writing easier.
Easy.
In a way, everyone does it to some extent. The first books that I ever wrote were called Caged Demons and Dragonskin. I placed large portions of my personality into those characters. In Caged Demons, the main character was a stoic man who refused to show how much the situation around him was bothering him. In Dragonskin, the main character was a teenage boy who was lost in his own world, loved art, and took the time to notice things that other people seemed to overlook. Now, they aren't completely me, they have different interests and overall personalities, but I placed more of myself into them than I did with future projects, like with my actually published stuff. Dance of Frozen Death features characters who aren't like me much at all, same thing with Above Heaven. There are minor aspects of my personality in the main characters, but it's only about like 5%. It's not like Velma, Nightstar, the harem protagonist, or every single movie that The Rock is in, because I learned from the experience of writing, and when I go back and eventually rewrite my old books, I will change some things about them. Dragonskin coming out in 2024, by the way, just a heads up, shameless plugs here.
Dragging behind you the stone of shame.
So I think that a lot of the problems with self-insert characters come more from the writers being unwilling or unable to see other perspectives or to branch out. There are plenty of characters that I have little to nothing in common with, but I relate to them and I love them. Saul Goodman, Kim Wexler, Avatar Aang, Eleanor Shellstrop, Arthur Fleck, Chihiro Ogino, Denji and Asa from Chainsaw Man. These are all defined personalities with a past that is far different than my own, but they feel like real people that I grew to care about over the course of their stories. Their past, their characters, and their skills were all necessary for their tales. If the authors didn't know them so well as people, the entire tale would have fallen apart. It can't be all about one perspective. Writing is sharing the human experience, and you can't do that if you only see the world one way. This isn't to say that you can't use your personality and your experiences in your writing. Your perspective could help create a world that reaches millions of people. Tolkien pushed a lot of himself and his thoughts on war into Lord of the Rings. Same thing with C.S. Lewis and the Chronicles of Narnia. Stanley was famous for using his travels and military service in his work, but all of them were still able to create characters with vastly different personalities and perspectives.
Impressive. Very nice.
Maybe all of this might even have to do with a bit of arrogance. Writers and creators do seem a bit full of themselves. It's why I'm so ready to admit that I'm an idiot that is constantly learning myself. It's not that hard to admit, and I think that it helps me improve in everything I do, whether it be writing or making videos. I don't know. I think that I'm improving my video quality at least. So I think the key to all of this is having perspective. There's this weird trend with creators thinking that audiences can't relate to different experiences, but I think the history of writing and entertainment proves those people wrong. Each of us sees the world differently, and keeping that in mind with storytelling can help make the tales as far-reaching and open as possible. That way, you don't turn everyone off like Velma did. But what do you think? Am I completely off base here? What do you think of self-insert characters? Do you have a favorite character that's just like the author? What about a wish fulfillment insert? What do you think? Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your perspectives. And thank you so much for watching. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It would really help me out. Also, please remember that I just released my original novel, Dance of Frozen Death, Book 1 in the Written in Stone series, link in the description, and my second book, Above Heaven, will be released in May 2023. I hope that you will check them both out. I appreciate you. Do not despair.